Hi ladies, I'm Rebecca, the founder of the Female Entrepreneurs Network, and welcome to the show. Here you're going to find badass human beings, creatives, adventurous people and massive action takers. If you need any more support or love, head over to thefemaleentrepreneursnetwork.com to find everything that you could ever possibly need. Always remember to speak your truth, be who you are, because you are always enough. And there is someone out there who needs to hear your message today. Enjoy this episode, and if you love us, share us with your mates. I love you all, Rebecca. Welcome, Angela, to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to welcome you in. So Angela is the owner of Earrings by Angela. But look, Angela, I'm going to let you take over and explain to us how you work and what you do.
Okay, so hi everyone. I am Angela of Earrings by Angela. I am a jewelry artist and instructor. So my specialty is wire wrap jewelry. So I work with a lot of semi-precious gemstones, and I teach the basics of jewelry and the intermediate stuff too. But I do it differently. The way I teach is I tell stories, I crack jokes, um, I give the tools nicknames because I want you to feel comfortable with whatever you're working. Because when I first started jewelry making, it was extremely intimidating for me. I went to the store and I was like, I have no clue what she wants me to get. There's a list, no pictures. I don't do that to you. I give you the pictures and the list because a lot of my classes are online now, so I can't go to the store with you. But we have a lot of fun in the classes. Like I said, I teach online, and I started teaching in-person classes. And that was amazing. I believe the greatest compliment I received was from an older student that I had, and she said, "You're the best teacher I've had since 4th grade." And I'm like, "Really?
That's
That's a
amazing.
compliment." So, but I for other people, I call my students my students. But for me, they're jewelry divas, and we are family because we get along so well. We get along so well.
Amazing.
And I'm always giving the birthday shout outs and embarrassing them online. Hey, it's your birthday, um, but along with that, I also teach mindset techniques because when you're an artist in any form, there's always going to be that feeling of fear because of the fact that you have to be transparent and vulnerable. You're sharing a part of yourself that you may have kept hidden for so long. So I teach that, by way of let's not compare each other, compare against each other. And I teach also because I work with the stones. I teach about the chakras and the healing powers of the stones because I like for my students to understand what they're working with. And Rebecca, I love your necklace. Yes.
Thank you. So for those who can't see it, it's a very lovely necklace, isn't it? So
Yeah.
what you do is incredible. Like, you are so talented, and I love how you lead with the mindset stuff, because I agree. I think that that's so key in everything that we do. I don't know how, but at some point people started coming to me to ask me a lot about the business strategy. And I say the same thing to everyone. Like, it doesn't matter how many times we talk about strategy or what strategy I give you. If your mindset is not in the right place, you're going to self-sabotage anyway. So mindset is definitely the first place that I start.
It is true because here's an example. One of the rules that I have, which is a non-negotiable rule, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, she scares the crap out of me," but it's not. It's all in love. Is I don't allow fear to come to the table in the form of the word can't. So when you're in my classes, you're not allowed to say can't. If I'm showing you something, say, I can't get this. That's not true. that's an excuse for you to stop trying and for you to start
Yes.
throwing that pity party that we don't have time for. We need to move past that and get things done.
So true.
And so I'll give you an example. I had a student, I call her my twin because we have the same name. And sorry, she was working with the wire, and there was a concept, and she just kept, you have to be gentle with the wire. You have to build a relationship with it. And she was just frustrated, and I would say I said, hey, wait a minute. You're committing murder. You're killing your friend over here. You want to be gentle with the wire. And I grabbed her hand and I said, honey, stop. Let's talk about what's going on right now. I said, what are we doing? What's happening? And she said, I just can't. I said, excuse me? She said, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to get this, and I'm getting frustrated with myself. And I said, why are you frustrated? And she said, because I'm looking at everyone else and they're doing it so easily, and I'm just not getting it. I said, that's where we need to stop. Why are you looking at other people? Your best friend is in front of you. Your wire is ready to do whatever you need it to do, but it's following your lead. So if you're frustrated, now the wire is frustrated and the project is gone. So let's stop and let me help you. And we sat there and I held her hand and I said, it's been a tough week, hasn't it? She said, yes. And I said, when you come to this class, all of that leaves and it's just about you. It's not about what you did at work today. It's not about who yelled in your face and what went wrong. Don't bring that energy here. This is a safe place. This is love. And so I showed her the technique again and I went slower. And she got it. And guess what? By the time she finished that project, her stuff looked better than mine.
That's amazing, isn't it? Like, it's incredible, the power of just the way that you think and the beliefs that you have. So amazing. I used to have a list on my board of words that I couldn't use, and like can't was definitely up there. There was like, there were about 6 or something, and things like can or must, like you must, like, yeah, it's really important. And then if I saw myself using a word, I'd be like, stop right there.
Yeah, and that's true, because I learned one of my words is try. Like, how do you really try? Either you do
you're not
or
going
you
to
don't.
try. Yeah, you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. Which one is it going to be?
You know, try is an excuse for you to be allowed to be indecisive. And I always tell my son, I said, no, there is no try. Either you're going to make boss moves or you're not. And he said, Mom, if you say making boss moves one more time, I said, you have to decide. Either you want to do it or either you don't. But don't have a gray area. I said, because then you slow up your process. And I also teach that there are 2 words that you can take out of your vocabulary and replace them with 1 word, and that'll give you more abundance. And so don't say either or, say and. So it's not either I'm going to have the ice cream or I'm going to have the cake. No, you can have both, just in moderation. You can have the ice cream and the cake. And now look how much happier you are because you didn't deny yourself. And that's how I started living. I was like, wait a minute, I don't have to choose. I can have it all. Now, in which ways can I have it all? You know, how do I get to that point? And then I started dreaming on paper.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So let's not forget to come back to dreaming on paper, because in fact, let's talk about dreaming on paper now, because you said it. So what do you mean by dreaming? What do you mean by dreaming on paper?
Okay, so dreaming on paper is the time when you take the time to take limits off of yourself. Instead of, because we already live in a world of limitations, but what if we travel to the world of possibilities? Okay, so that's what your notebook is and your pen is going to do. Your notebook is the destination you want to go to, and your pen is your travel agent because it's going to allow you to express the words on the paper to get there. So you can go and be anything that you want to be. And doing that gives you hope. So even if it sounds crazy, like, hey, I want to fly an airplane one day, write it down, because why couldn't you fly an airplane? What would it take for you to fly an airplane? Get excited. Did you imagine yourself flying an airplane? Write down all the crazy things you've always wanted to do, even if it's as small as, I want to go to the gym, because sometimes the gym can be very intimidating. But write down all of your things. And then when you see it on paper, as you're writing, you're starting to imagine those things happening. And you're back as you were when you were a child. We used to pretend all the time we could be whatever we want. But then as we grew up, people started putting those limiting beliefs on us. And somewhere we lost that magic. We lost that imagination. And we're like, no, stop dreaming. You have to live in the real world. Well, I'm telling you today, you don't. Your world is the one that you create on that paper. And you can have anything that you want because it's the world of possibilities. So pack your suitcase, leave the island of limitation, and fly over to the island of possibilities, because there are cabana boys ready to serve you pina coladas when you get there.
I love it. I love the whole way that you look at it as well. So let's talk about the business then, and like, how did you get to where you are now? Like, what was the journey that happened which led you to this path?
Okay, so it's a long one. So what happened was, and I didn't realize this until after I had written my goals down, because I played on paper. But I didn't realize that, or I didn't remember that I created a journal when I was 35. And okay, so now that my supervisor is not on here and I work for myself, I can tell the whole truth. I took off work one day. I just called in sick and I was like, I don't know where I'm going. So I'm going to take off work and figure this thing out. Where do I want to go from this point? You know, I was a single mom. I was trying to finish my college degree, and I'm like, well, what do I want to do when I'm 40? Because my son would be 20, and I'm like, he's grown. What is life after you raise your children? So where do I want to go? Let's think about this. And so I wrote down goals, and I wrote down that when I'm 40, I want to travel. I said, no matter where you are, what you're doing, at 40, you have to take the time to travel. And I said, okay. So fast forward to 40, and I was working for the school system. And one day, our job was getting a little bit toxic, a lot of bit toxic, if I'm being honest. And my defining moment was we were going to a building that we were being introduced to. We were promised it was going to be bigger office space. They sold us the whole thing, like almost like a mansion type space office. Well, when we got there, it was more like, hey, we're going to treat you like sardines, and you're going to be packed up one on top of the other. And we kind of lied. This is not the environment, but we had to get you over here. And so, sorry, I remember my friend Keila texted me saying, Angie, come help me. I can't get to the door. I can't find the entrance to the building. I said, fine. And I gave her directions. But while I was waiting for her, I looked at my car, and I just had that moment with self. She walks too slow, okay? I had that moment with self, and I said, I worked too hard to get here. I don't deserve this. I lived my life with integrity. Why does it seem like everything is going downhill? I don't deserve this. And I started feeling the tears coming in my eyes. And I had my purse on my shoulder, and I said, all you gotta do is walk over to the car and leave. Just leave. Just run. Like, this is not your life. Go down to the retirement place on Water Street. You can retire at 40. Let's do this. Just whatever. And I couldn't believe I was having those thoughts. I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? I must really be ticked off. And hurt, But that moment, by the time Keela walked up to me in that small amount of time, I had made the decision, I'm done. And I said, okay, now that I've said it and I kind of felt it, am I really going to be done? So I wrestled with it. From that point, I had 2 dreams. One was of my fish named Chill, and he jumped out of his fish bowl and he turned into a parakeet. So I am, driving around the city in the dream, chasing my fish bird, right? And somewhere in the dream, he landed on my mom's shoulder and she kind of ducked. But that gave me time to get out of the car and be like, Chill, come back, come back. And he came and landed on my shoulder and he just flapped his wings. And I was like, so when I woke up, I wrote the dream down because I said, what the heck was that? I'll figure that out later. And what happened was I realized that was my transformation dream. That was the one that says, this is where you are, but you're about to soar. You have so many other places to go. And so I wrote all that in my journal. The second dream I had was I was Chill again. And the fish was going around the fish bowl swimming. And it's a very small fish bowl because he was kind of a small fish. But you're in limited space. So he kept jumping out of the bowl. And then I would pick him back up. And he would swim around about 3 times and jump out again. He kept doing that. So when I woke up, I wrote that dream down. And I was like, what is that? Let me meditate. What does that mean? And what I came up with is, because I'm a spiritual person, I said, I felt like God was saying, I need you to take this leap. You cannot grow inside of this box that everyone's trying to put you in. Step outside of your comfort zone and take the leap. And every time that you feel, because there will be trials, when you feel like you're going to die and you just can't take it anymore, I'm going to be there to lift you up and put you back in, retrain you, and get you going. But you have to trust me. And you can't do that if you don't take the leap. That dream was the one I was like, let's set the date. That's confirmation for me. So I set the date to June 13th of 2017. And from that point, after I made the decision, a week later, I kid you not, I got promoted at the job I'm trying to quit. And I said, well, now, wait a minute. We've been fighting for these hours for like 2 years. And in the 3rd year, excuse me, you're finally going to give me what I wanted? There was only 3 people chosen. And I said, and I kept saying, why was I chosen? This person is more qualified, and I'm like, why would they choose me? And I stopped questioning it because I felt like, because I had no real plan on how to quit, I felt like I was being set up to say, I'm going to give you the extra money that you need to be serious and start making the plans that you need to, get your exit strategy. So I did that. And I'm not going to lie, I started to look at that date and be like, well, maybe I'm supposed to stay because I got promoted. So I always get my calculator out because I don't know, numbers help me answer the questions that I need because numbers don't lie. So I added up the amount of money that I would be making that was extra. And it was the number 666. So many people are scared of that number, but and before I started, really studying about that, I was like, oh, that's a bad sign. This is not going well. So I'm being tempted and I need to start watching my bag. And it wasn't a lie. Like after that honeymoon stage, all hell broke loose. But in the preparation of me leaving, because that all took place in February, in March, I said, okay, we're back to that non-negotiable date. You need to become official. And so I applied for my LLC. From that point, I started changing everything. I said, okay, my friend introduced me to the Law of Attraction Planner. I started working in there. I started dreaming on paper. And all of a sudden, all the hell that was breaking loose around me, I was the calmest person. I had the cleanest desk. I had, I had straightened up everything. I would, instead of listening to music on the way to work, I would listen to motivational speakers. At my desk, I would play soothing music. I would put up quotes from the motivational speakers. I would get up every morning and do my gratitude and my meditation. And I would just feed my mind positive things. So then it got to the point where people were like, well, this is happening. How come you're not, upset or going wild? I was like, I have this peace. And that's all I would say is because, I was feeding my mind positive things. And so by the time all that happened, nothing bad could touch me. I was like, whatever, because I knew I was leaving.
Yeah.
And I remember the day that the engineer came in, he said, I usually don't work in the mornings, but I had to come and see who works at this desk, because on the on the wall I had a calendar and I would mark off the days. And he said, what are you counting down to?
Really?
And I was like, oh. I said, my freedom. He was like, what? I said, well, between me and you, I'm about to retire. I said, so don't tell anyone else because it's going to be a great surprise. So at the end, my supervisors had no idea what was going on, but they were trying to figure me out because they were like, you're too quiet. I don't like that. Well, I'm just in my zone, but I typed up my resignation letter. And the next day I went shopping. I bought roses. I bought thank you cards. I bought gift cards. I bought a cake and other treats that I know that the people in my office loved. And so I came into the office and my favorite color was purple. So I gave my resignation letter in a purple envelope.
Ooh.
And I gave the cards with the gift cards to all of my supervisors, even the ones that gave me hell. And I gave them with roses. And I said, hey, everyone, come take a group picture. They said, what's the celebration? I said, just come in the room. And I made my speech about how I was leaving and I was retiring. And this is our last school year together. And everyone was shocked. Like, what? Well, why didn't you tell us? I said, because, honey, when you celebrate yourself, you don't wait for anyone else to throw you a party. I'm celebrating me, but I'm also celebrating you. I want us to have this memorable time, so do goofy pictures with me. I said, and I need to do the rose ceremony for my supervisors. And I told them each how I love them, how this rose represents the beauty of our relationship. Roses are beautiful, but sometimes they're hard. They have thorns, but we don't focus on the thorns. We focus on the beauty of the rose. And I said, this is how I want you to remember me. And I said, inside you will find a gift card. Have lunch on me because you fed me for 3 years. Let me feed you. And that's how I ended. And I started my journey as a full-time jewelry artist.
That's amazing. So amazing, like incredible. So along the way then, obviously that was quite a bit of a challenge, wasn't it? Like leaving your job and going through that journey. When it comes to having your business now, so how long have you had your business for?
Well, I've had it for what? Since 2017, officially. 'Cause I stopped playing around.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I can sell this here, sell this there. Now it's like, oh my gosh, I took the leap with no real preparation, but you know what? Let's saddle up and get ready for this ride.
Do it, do it. So 2 years, and 2 years is such 2 or 3 years, yeah. It's such a long time, isn't it? And what would you say then in them years has been the biggest challenge for you in your business?
Oh gosh, getting out of my own way and thinking that what others had to say was gospel, meaning the truth set in stone. Um, because I was new to the whole online community, I realized, oh gosh, I just took on many other hats. It's, oh, you're the marketing specialist, you're the PR person, you're the photographer, you're the editor, you're the writer, you're the scheduler, you're the everything. Um, and I didn't know how to be present on social media and all that. So I would, click on all these free resources, like, okay, da 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 da. And I was like, I'm still lost. I don't know. So I was like, well, I'll focus on that later. I took the time to travel. But then when I came back, I was like, okay, during all that and trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do and not really being serious about it in the beginning, because I was like, I'm on vacation, whatever. I made so many mistakes along the way. And I was like, okay, Angela, you took this leap. There's no going back. You got to get serious. And so I hired a coach. I was scared. And that's the best part. When you're scared, that's when you're supposed to do it. Don't do it when you're comfortable, because your fear is going to push you to the next level. You're going to be like, dude, it's now or never. You're always going to have those crossroads. So I hired a coach and I decided, let me take the time to study and write down what I'm supposed to do. How can I have these ideas? How do I implement them? And you know what? I go at my own speed, because if you start, see, I have to be my own student, right? If I start looking to the left or the right and seeing, oh, well, she's doing this and she's doing that, and da-da-da-da, I don't know how long they've been, doing it. So I had to stop comparing my journey to theirs. And I noticed that, like, I'd be in the business groups and I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're doing amazing. Well, I'm not that far. What am I doing wrong? You know? So I had to get out of my own way, because it was like you get a little fear of success, like, wait a minute, what would happen? How would my life change if it really did come to pass? Well, let me slow down a little bit more, and then I got into the Game of Thrones. Because that was my procrastination. So this year I said, okay, I've learned everything I need to learn, I feel, because even though when I listen to other people, I was like, well, they're just reiterating what, my coach told me to do. So let me stop getting in my own way and do the damn work. And that made a difference. I started, being able to connect more with my audience in the way that I am comfortable, and that they are comfortable. Like, my customers don't call me Angela. They call me sis. They be like, hey, sis, how are you today? Hey, this is what I need to know. Or, hey, this is what I'm working with. They'll text me stuff. So I've been getting Mother's Day inboxes
Oh,
for
that's
2 days
so
now.
lovely.
So we have this connection. And um, I realize, I don't have to have the same formula that everyone else has in order to implement my ideas. It's not the formula that you would use to write a romance novel or you know a blues song. It's, you take the ideas and you make it yours, and that's where your authenticity comes out, and that's where you connect, because you're being yourself and not trying to be someone else. So yeah, I had to get out of my own way.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. That I think we can fall into the trap of thinking that firstly, comparing the front end of someone else's business to the back end of our business.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, thinking that there's this magic formula that we need to learn in order to be successful.
Yes.
The thing is, everyone's magic formula is different because everyone's
Mm-hmm.
version of success is different, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
completely. So you set up your business then, 2017. You've been doing amazing since. I know we connected back then as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Yeah, so incredible. So what would you say like as being your best like resource, or like the thing that's like kind of, and you might have answered this question already actually, but like
Mm-hmm.
that's been the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the thing that's contributed the most to your success.
Okay, so I would say, um, if I had to choose one thing, um, I would definitely say my planner, the Law of Attraction planner that I started out with,
Ooh.
because it it forced me. I shouldn't say forced me, but it aided me, and better word, it guided me into learning what I wanted, not what someone else say that I should want. And
Mm.
that's where I was able to unload and really get to know myself, because until I started doing the work in the planner, it's not just a regular planner. You have these questions that they ask you. You have to check in. How is your mood? How is your progress today? How is your progress in the morning? You know, throughout the day, you're doing all of this, what I call soul work. And that really helped me because it helped me develop my voice and be able to speak out what my needs were, and work on my expectations and not everyone else's. So that has been the greatest tool. Secondly, is the Tailwind app for
Oh
social media. Because without it, I would be on social media all day and not getting anything done. Because as soon, like, especially like on Facebook, as soon as they see that green light on, they're like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Oh wait, well, what was I working on? Oh my gosh, I got to serve this person." But now, because of that, I can schedule out my social media posts, and then at my scheduled time that I put in my planner, I can go on there and engage and answer questions. So it helps me to stay and be productive instead of having the shiny thing syndrome. Like, oh, well, wait, you know. So those are the two things that are mainly keeping me uh, intact and focused. Yeah, that's the word, and focused.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love the idea of the planner, and I agree with you about Tailwind. I absolutely love it. So I'm going to ask you this question because I remember when we spoke about it before, you gave me an absolutely beautiful story about your favorite book.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a good thing for people to take away and listen to.
So the two books or
Yeah,
the
yeah. Just tell me about them both. Yeah.
okay. So the one book, the business book, which is actually not a technical business book, it's called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. And I would say I found it by accident, but there are no real accidents in life. Everything is set up for your greater good. Um, the book helps you with your mindset, and it really, I would say, in essence, is like a metaphysical book and touching on the law of attraction. But in other words, it helps you to reframe your thinking and believe that whatever you want, you can have. And it tells these awesome stories, you know, and gratitude always comes up. Gratitude is the secret sauce to everything. So no McDonald's Big Mac has the secret sauce. No, this is the secret sauce, gratitude. And forgiveness is huge. I've noticed that those two things are a major trend. So if you're not grateful for what you already have, you won't get more. And how I explain it to my clients is that imagine your child coming up to you for candy, and you give him or her a piece of candy, and they run off. They never said thank you. And then you buy this piece of candy that you know that they love. They take it and they never say thank you. Are you gonna keep buying that candy because you like they don't even care? They have the attitude of it's expected, so whatever, entitlement. But if they were to say thank you would be, wanting to do it more often. Maybe not with the candy, but you'll do better things because you see that they're grateful. So you're like, okay, they only wanted this candy, but guess what? They've been saying thank you so much. I'm gonna take them, somewhere special to play video games or have, a special outing with mom and dad or mommy or whatever. But they got more than what they asked for because they showed gratitude for the small things. So that's kind of what that book talks about, our mindset and that we are like co-creators of what we do. Okay. The other book is Anna Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery. And that was my favorite childhood book. Um, First because um, her name is Anne Shirley. She's an orphan, and she was always seeing the brighter side of things. There would be mistakes and chaos, but she was always true to herself, true to her voice, to the point where she influenced those around her instead of the people around her with negativity influencing her. So there's a lot of great adventures, and in the end, because it's a series, we get to see her grow up, but it's a series, and we get to go through this journey with her. And I always imagined myself going through this journey with her. And I've read the book so many times. I talk about it all through my lifetime to the point where I even want to go to the island where the book took place. It's Prince Edward Island in Canada. And I said, I'm going to take that trip. That's on my list of 50 things to do. But that's how much the book has inspired me. So even if you don't want to read the book, watch the movie because you will not be disappointed. And it does take time back in the Victorian era. So just a fair warning for that.
Sounds amazing. Tell me about this list then. 50 things that you want to do.
Okay, so because it becomes real. So of the 50 things you write down, whatever it is your heart desires, things that you want to accomplish. And I wrote down for number 21 to see Lisa Nichols, my favorite motivational speaker. And I said, okay, in a year, I'm going to go see Lisa Nichols. I have a year to get to California. And this was after, I left my job. And I just wrote it down. And I was like, okay, we're going to do this. I didn't have the money at the time, but I was like, okay, we're going to do this. Well, after I wrote that down on my list and said, I want to do it a year from now, about a week or 2 weeks later, I received an email. Hey, Lisa Nichols is coming to Chicago. Chicago is about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from my house. Okay. So I was like, what? Oh my gosh. If she's coming this close, it does not make sense for me to wait a year. So I was like, okay, just go on the emails, see how much the conference is. Well, I had to book my tickets because I know it sells out quick. And I was like, either you can pay this bill or you can get that Lisa Nichols conference. I said, well, Angela, you've been riding on faith this whole time. Let's go for it. So I bought the ticket. And I was like, ooh, I done spent my bill money. But I had a craft fair the next day. And I said, before I left for the fair, I said, I'm going to make that money back at this fair. I am. Half the day went, and I was like, I'm not getting any closer to making that, making that money. And I said, you know what? Don't even worry about it. So a little girl came to my booth, and she said, you know, she was admiring my jewelry, and her father was like, come on, come on. I said, well, wait. I said, honey, what do you like? She said, I like this ring. I said, when is your birthday? And then she told me. And I said, happy birthday. And she said, what? I said, the ring is yours. And her father was like, oh no, we're not gonna pay for it. I said, no, Dad, this is her early birthday gift. The baby wants it, she can have it. And I said, you know why I can do that? I said, because this is my business, so I get to bend the rules for special children like you who has a birthday coming up. And so she was like, can I give you a hug? I said, yeah, give me a hug. So we hugged, and her father thanked me. And I said, oh, Dad, it's no problem, you know, and she walked away. 30 minutes later, I kid you not, somebody came and bought over $100 worth of merchandise. And it was about $5 away from how much that ticket was. Well, from the rest of the afternoon, the business just kept rolling. So I made 2 times more than what that ticket was. So I paid my bill and had the money to travel to the conference.
That's amazing.
So, so in short, I made it to the conference. I was afraid to take that drive because if you ever drive in Chicago, it's crazy. And I had never taken a trip by myself. And I said, okay, so now you lived on faith. God showed you what he can do, what he does, take the limits off. Now you got to drive, you know, you got to go to this conference by yourself. And even though one of my friends said, if you don't want to go by yourself, I'll come with you. And I said, you know what? I appreciate that. But my spirit is telling me, I feel that I have to take this journey alone. And she said, oh, okay. I said, so, but I thank you. She said, oh, no problem. So the night before I left for the conference, I prayed. And then in the middle of my prayer, I had this vision that Lisa was wearing something with red and cream colored. And I said, and, you know, it was like the voice was like, you're going to meet her personally. And I said, no, you know. And so I went back into my prayer. That was like a pause moment in the prayer. But I could see it like it was happening. I was like, I've never had like a vision like that before. So I get to the conference, and on stage, Lisa's wearing a green dress. So I was like, oh, that's not gonna happen because it was a green dress. But I'm four rows away from the stage. And I'm like, this is close enough for me. This is really cool. So later on, during intermission and lunchtime, Lisa and Matt, they're walking outside by where we are for lunch. And we're like so close. And I said, oh my gosh. And I said, wait a minute, that's not the green dress. Those are the colors I saw in my vision.
Oh my God.
And I said, this must be the moment. So I said, Angela, say hi. You know, I gotta talk myself. And I said, hi, Lisa, can I get a picture with you? She said, baby, I would love to, but I'm handling something right now. She said, so please forgive me. I said, that's okay. Now let me tell you, my first mind was like, dang, that vision wasn't true. I didn't get a picture. I was kind of, you know, let down. I was like, girl, it's not about you. She's serving somebody. You know, it's not about you. Put your ego to the side. So I said, I'm blessed that I just got to have that conversation with her. So later on, you know, there's this exercise that she does, and I won't give it away, but it's this exercise, and you're broken up into groups of 3 different long groups. And I said, oh, I bet I'll be in Susie's group. You know, Susie's funny. I like her too. But no, I wasn't assigned to Susie's group. I was assigned to Lisa's group. not only with the exercise that she did I get to talk to her. She hugged me from behind and she spoke life into my ear. Everything that I was concerned about. And I just broke down crying. So I can't even remember what she said because I was just like, I was so focused on, oh my gosh, she's hugging me. Oh my gosh, she's talking to me. And later on, after that, so I was like, this must be what it was. Okay. Well, later on, after that, I got my selfie with Lisa. And she took my camera. She's like, let's take selfies. And I said, Lisa, I need to let you know, you are on my vision board.
Mm.
And she said, am I cute? I said, Lisa, you always cute. You know? And I said, I thank you for inspiring me and the others. You know, I said, you know, you like my God, sister, right? She said, yeah, I love you too, sis. I said, I love you too. So we took the pictures. We had the conversation. She signed my book. And my whole point in telling the entire story was because, remember, I talked about gratitude. And when you're grateful for the little things, you get blessed with more than what you asked for. That was more than I could ask for. And I have the pictures to prove it.
That's so nice.
So that was how powerful that planner in the gratitude journal is. Things happen and they become alive. That's why I say that's the secret sauce.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. Thank you so much for telling that story.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for being with us today. It's been so incredible to chat to you, learn more about you and your journey.
Thank you.
If there was one thing that you could leave with our listeners, what would it be?
I would say listen to that intuition, that small voice, that nudge, that thought that won't leave you alone. Listen to it because it will not misguide you. It will lead you to many more adventures. But along the way, write down everything and allow yourself to dream on paper because dreams do come true.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rebecca, for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you for being here. Don't forget to always speak your truth and be who you are, because there is someone out there today who needs to hear your message. If you need anything from us at all, head over to thefemaleentrepreneursnetwork.com and check us out. You'll find everything you could possibly need over there. Have an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next episode.